The Nigeria Correctional Service has disclosed that awaiting trial inmates constitute 64% of the total custodian population nationwide, underscoring persistent congestion and pressure on correctional facilities across the country. Controller General of the service, Sylvester Nwakuche, made this known while presenting the agency's 2025 budget performance and the 2026 estimates before the House of Representatives Committee on Reformatory Institutions in Abuja. According to him, as of February 9, 2026, the total inmate population stood at 80,812. Of this figure, 51,955 are awaiting trial inmates, 24,913 are convicted inmates, while 3,850 fall under other detention categories. Nwakuche described the Nigeria Correctional Service as a critical institution within the criminal justice system, responsible for custodial and non-custodial services, safe custody of legally detained persons, as well as their rehabilitation and reintegration as law-abiding citizens. He added that the service is mandated to ensure inmates are adequately fed in line with the United Nations minimum standard rules for the treatment of offenders. On 2025 budget performance, the Controller General disclosed that the service received a total appropriation of 184.63 billion naira in 2025, covering personnel, overhead, and capital expenditure. Of the 124.31 billion naira approved for personnel costs, 112.68 billion naira, representing 90.6%, was released and fully utilized for salaries, pensions, and health insurance contributions under the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System. He said that recurrent overhead releases stood at 73.7%, with the last tranche for October 2025 released in December. From the funds received, 27.28 billion naira represents 71.7% of what was spent on inmate feeding nationwide, while outstanding obligations for food rations stood at 10.75 billion naira.
The 2026 budget proposal of 198 billion 846 million 197,163 naira for your kind consideration and approval. 2, I most respectfully make an appeal for the approval of an extra 90 billion 379 million 456,350 to be added to the capital budget, thereby increasing the capital allocation to 100 billion 498 million 187,835 in order to relatively address critical infrastructure and capacity building needs of the service.
Speaking earlier, Chairman of the House Committee on Reformatory Institutions, Honorable Chinedu Oga, called for urgent reforms in Nigeria's correctional system, including increased funding, improved infrastructure, and presidential assent to the Correctional Service Trust Fund Bill. Oga described the Nigeria Correctional Service as central to national security, but lamented what he termed inadequate budgetary attention despite its critical responsibilities. He noted that many correctional facilities were built over a century ago and have deteriorated significantly, contributing to recurring security breaches and operational strain. The lawmaker, who represents Ezza South Equal Federal Constituency of Ebonyi State, urged the president to assent to the Correctional Service Trust Fund Bill already passed by the National Assembly, noting that it will strengthen constitutional provisions empowering states to establish correctional facilities and ease pressure on federal centers. He said improved funding and decentralized infrastructure would enhance rehabilitation programs, vocational training, and agricultural initiatives, enabling facilities to function as genuine reform institutions. Oga highlighted ongoing efforts to expand access to education within correctional centers, revealing that about 10 study centers of the National Open University of Nigeria have been established in custodial facilities nationwide.
Proposal is almost 70% of what is there in 2025, just carry over. That haven't looked at it. It's not something necessary we should go further to start talking on it, that we should move ahead to adopt it and as a committee work towards it to know what we can achieve. Okay, thank you. Honorable colleagues, the deputy chairman, the clerk, the CG with your team. Haven't heard from my colleagues. We have heard all the requests. We went round. Each members of the committee contribute money in paying for release of inmates in various custodial centers, in Maiduguri, in Bayelsa, in Port Harcourt, in Aba, in Lagos. So many places we visited. And we go further to even buy some equipment for those that have finished their jail terms. That is to tell you how our committee are very committed. We have seen your requests. We are going to work with the appropriation. Thank God the chairman of subcommittee is here. We are going to work with the appropriation and the leadership. My colleagues made mention of you working with the executive. It's me that as a chairman know how far we have gone. Like sometimes 2 a.m., 3 a.m. we will not sleep where we are meeting with the executive. What can be done, making sure the right thing is done in the correctional service.
The committee, he said, would examine the service 2025 performance before concluding deliberations on the 2026 budget estimates. Uche Jacinta of Eagles TV.